Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, I know a lot of you are wondering, where did she go? Yeah, that's story for another day. But yeah, let's just move on. Permit me to just move on. Before I made this video, or before I came back to YouTube, I had to sit down and ask myself a lot of questions. I remember just sitting down questioning myself, like, why am I doing this? Why am I talking about bedwetting? Why am I talking about rumors? Like, who does this benefit? I'm being honest. I questioned the path that I had received to take in terms of my YouTube channel. Even the topic we're going to discuss today will make you see why, again, I questioned what I was doing. But the Spirit of God had to remind me that it is in the little things. When we talk about childhood trauma, it's not always about, I know some people have really, really terrible experiences where maybe you had like this wicked stepmother who burnt you with iron. I heard a story like that and I was like, Jesus Christ. But there are some of us who, when we talk about childhood trauma, it is in the little things, the little things that came together here and there and added up, that became a source of trauma to us, so it's not always because one massive thing just happened at a time, and said, oh yeah, this caused trauma. Most of the time it is in little things that add up, little things that happen here, there, this happened, then that happened. Sometimes it's even one thing that happens to you consistently over a couple of years, and you then realize that it has shaped you into someone who you did not expect, and you're just like, wow, how can this little thing have brought me to this point in my life? And it's just mind-blowing. And so that's why we're talking about things like bedwetting, we're talking about things like rumors, and that's why we'll be talking about a topic like favorite child. Yeah, that's our topic for today. Favorite child. So let's get right into it. Favorite child. Before I go deep into what I want to say today, I'm going to start off with like a background point. Okay, so I tend to say this often, and well, based on the fact that other people may have a different experience, I'm going to try not to generalize, but based on my own experience, I feel that it is quite difficult to love two people the same way. I've always found myself in a clique of friends. When I was in secondary school, I think we were like a clique of 5. And then when I was in uni, we were like a clique of 3, thereabout. And then I found some sisters, friends turned sisters, more or less, and we're more like a clique of 4, I think. So like I've always been in situations where I've been in like a clique of friends, over time, let's put it that way. And I've come to understand that most of the time, we tend to have that. It's not like a spoken segregation, but you just tend to find out that even you as a person, if you've ever been in a situation like me, you tend to be closer to one person than you are to the others. Especially if it's like maybe like a clique of 4, you then find that sometimes 2 people are like this and then the other 2 are like this. We're all friends, quite all right, but there's that person that if I felt, oh, something is going wrong, this is the one person I'll call. What point am I trying to make? Even among my siblings, right? I have 3 siblings, 2 girls and a boy. You can probably see them behind me. I have 3 siblings. And even among the 4 of us, I know that it's like this unspoken thing where we know that these people, these 2 seem to be like have, to have this closeness. These two seem to have this closeness. We're all close. We all have that bond as siblings, but then they're just that person you're closer to in the clique. I don't know if anybody can relate to what I'm trying to explain, but yeah, my point from what I'm trying to say right now is you cannot really love, even as a parent, it applies the same way. If we're being very fair and honest, you may never really love two children the same way. And it could vary for different reasons. It could be for different reasons. For some of us, it's personality. You just find that as a mom, maybe you're a quiet person and you just have that child who's just like quiet, just the way you are. Or you're an artistic mom, you draw, you sing, you dance, whatever. And you have that child who can relate, who just comes as a natural talent, as a natural artist. Child can sing, the child can dance, the child can do all sorts. Or you're a mathematical parent and you just have that child who knows how to do maths. Or like generally, maybe for us, for like moms, for us women, for us ladies, when you become a mom, you have that child who naturally just comes to assist you in the kitchen, is naturally close to you, just wants to be around you and all that. This kind of natural tendencies can make you tend to draw closer to one child than the other. And that's how it works. It's really the way life is. It's not impossible. It's not a crime. It's not, unheard of. I think we did a conference in 2023, Thriving Family Forum, and by God's grace, we should be doing another edition soon, God sparing us. And one of the things my spiritual father said was, he made a point in this line of how naturally he tends to be closer to his daughter than his sons, and he gave examples. And that was even another space where I realized that this thing is a normal thing. It's a normal thing. You cannot really just love all your children the same way. There's a natural tendency to maybe love one more than you love the other. Do you understand? Now, where it now becomes an issue is making it so damn obvious that this is the one I like, this one I don't like, this one. Or you may not even be distincting that, oh yeah, I don't like this person, but you're making it very obvious that I prefer. Maybe sometimes it could be in your actions, it could be in your words. You make it very obvious that you prefer this child to this child. And I can say that safely, I had an experience like that. Now, I've always said this space is not for, there's no toxicity here. We're not here to be bashing parents or be saying, oh, they didn't do this one, this person's wicked. Now, that's not the point of this YouTube channel. That's not the point of these conversations that we have. The point of it is that we become better. Because again, it's one thing to say over and over again, my parent did this, my parent did that. But if you're not intentional about this, you become the exact same thing. I promise you, nothing will change. You're going to do the same thing that your parents did that you didn't like so much. So the essence of this is so that we understand some of these things, we see them, our eyes are open to them, and we can, when we start to raise our own families, we can act differently with intentionality. So what I'm going to be very discreet, to be honest, about even the information that I'm going to be giving today. So it's not even like I'm going to tell you a lot of stories, because it's a sensitive topic as well, so it's not like I'm going to tell you a lot of stories, but even from what I'm going to say, there's no shades. We're just talking in good faith and all trying to learn. Now, I had one of my parents who had this, I had this situation with, where, they made it very obvious that they had a preferred child among the four of us. If my siblings are watching, even the person I'm talking about will probably be pointing at themselves right now. So if my students are watching, they can understand, they can relate to what I'm saying right now. I remember then, even when we want something, we will try and cajole that child to, go and meet that our parents, go and get this, go and get that, go and get that, because we knew that, you know, that child was the highly favored one. So yeah. And I remember, for me particularly, I'm the firstborn of my family. If you've watched my previous videos, you've probably heard me say this before. I'm the firstborn of my family, and I talked about my bedwetting experience before. I was already battling with the bedwetting. I was battling with people saying trash about me. I talked about some rumors that were spread about me. If you don't watch those videos, you can go back and watch them. And so I was already battling with all of that. But then, yet, here I was in my house, still feeling like I was not good enough, because I don't think that was the intention of my parent, but that was what it did to me. I felt like, what thing I know they do, with the speaking they do, that kind of thing. And I'm supposed to be the first child, I'm supposed to get that kind of level, but I found myself just like going into my own corner, just trying to disappear most of the time, because I knew, like subconsciously, that yeah, I was not, the preferred child. And there were obvious times when, there were sentences, statements that were made to me, like to make it obvious that yes, I think that this child is better than you. And one of the sentences was, when you that parent of mine said to me that this child, the only thing that you can even say you're better than this speaking at is math. Every other thing, forget it. Those kind of things. And that's just like one of the very little ones. Like I said, I'm not going to be detailed about the story, but there's so many occasions like that where it really felt like I'm not, like it was very clear I was not the preferred one. And subconsciously, whether I knew it at the time or not, it started to demean my self-esteem. It started to make me feel like my junior one is better than me, And I started to believe it. Like I said, I don't think that was the intention of my parents. These are things you just do because I really like this child. So you make sentences, you say things just to show that you really like this child. But you don't know what you're doing to the other children. And so it started to demean my self-esteem, Now, two major things I learned from this experience was that, first off, you are setting yourself up for raising children who are not confident in themselves, who would probably have a very, very low self-esteem, who would see, people as better than them. Or you're raising the other extreme, which is you just find that children are just angry. They are very defensive, very intentional about trying to make themselves feel seen. You then find children who are, or find people, or now adults, who find the need to, anywhere they go, whatever space they find themselves, to prove themselves, to have to make sure that everybody understands that they're good at what they do, to give them their accolades, because they feel like they have to work for it, just because they grew up feeling like somebody else was better than them, and you as a parent indulged it, made it obvious, or were intentional or unintentional about making them feel like this person was better than them. So yeah, you tend to, one, be setting yourself up for raising children who are either timid or aggressive. And then secondly, you tend to find that this is one of the major things that bets sibling rivalries. When I hear stories about siblings who hate each other so much, like who actually, and it's real, these things are real. Siblings who hate each other so much, who can't stand each other. See, go and check. Most of these things are bet from something that happened in childhood relating to things like this. Do you understand? I'm not saying all of it, but most of the time, it could be as a result of things like this. I'm not gonna lie. God knows at a point, I didn't even understand God at that time. I was still very young. I didn't understand a lot of things. Because a child's heart is like kind of like a clean slate, like an open slate, anything can grow in it, which is why all of us are like a product of our circumstances. When a child is born, it's like a clean slate. It is what you feed into it that then raises the adults that you see. Because there's that clean slate, naturally, when situations like that come, there's just a tendency for the child to be hurt and then possibly be angry, start getting angry towards the other one because it's like, it's always you, why is it always you, blah, blah, blah. And there's a natural resentment that can come from that. And it is those kind of things that can grow into what you now have as a full-blown sibling rivalry, where you just have siblings who don't like each other. It takes the grace of God. I think it took the grace of God, even though I didn't even know it was the grace of God at the time, for me not to hate that my sibling. Me and my siblings being bonded the way we are today, for me, is a huge testimony, because it could have gone sideways, it could have gone south. Do you understand? There are so many situations like that. And then you find that you just raise very, like, your house would just be in unnecessary disunity just because you could not maturely handle your emotion towards a particular child. This might not be, I don't know if this is a great example, but I think we need to use this Bible story as an example. We have a situation where there was an Isaac who loved Esau, and there was a Rebecca who loved Jacob because of what God had told her about Jacob. And yeah, it was there that, because then Isaac said to Esau, go and prepare this food, make I bless you. And then Rebecca heard and went to go and tell Jacob, the father wants to bless your brother. And see the casala. No, there was natural tendency that, Jacob will have received blessing because of what Rebecca told. Because of what because of what God told Rebecca. But is it possible that Jacob would have still received the blessing without all that family drama that happened? Again, it may not be a perfect example, but this is just me thinking out loud. Upon reading that story again recently, just dawned on me that, see, part of the issues was that, parents had chosen their side. Like Isaac had chosen his side, Rebecca don't choose her side. And it's like I said, these are natural things that will happen. But then making it obvious that, and then it now becomes a thing where, anything that is happening, you want to side with this child, you want to side with this one. And sometimes some of us even start siding blindly. That's even a third thing that we can learn from this. You can raise very spoiled and untrained children because, I like this one are my favorite. So you don't correct them, you don't tell them when they've done something wrong, you don't even aid their excesses. Would you help them? They do bad things or be covering up for them every single time, so they don't learn. And you raise untrained children in the name of, this was my favorite child. So there's so much damage that can come from this. So much damage that can come from this. I'm going to stop here now. you know, if you can relate to what I'm saying, if you have things you think you can share on this topic, you can leave it in the comment section. We would very much appreciate your comment on this, So yeah, we're gonna be wrapping it up here. This is our January edition. By our February edition, we'll still be talking about the same topic, but from a different perspective. So I remember speaking to someone about, my experience on this, and she mentioned something. She was like, that she, on the other hand, was the favorite child in her house, but she also had some challenges. Like it got to her in a different way, and I'd never seen it in that light. I'd always seen it from the light of, me being the child I was not the favorite and all that. And she, opened my eyes to a different perspective of how even as a favorite child, it can be a lot to handle. It's like there's still a pressure you're putting on a child, making them the favorite. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking at that point, and I want you to anticipate. So yeah, I'll be having an interview with her for her to share her own experience and her own lessons with you, and I'm sure it'll be more interactive and more interesting. But until I see you again, have fun. Jesus loves you.